The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Huff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast, Tuesday edition of the podcast, coming to you November 12th, 2024. What's going on, guys? All right, hold on. I fix my screen here. There we go. All right. Yeah. We're burnt out. I'm burnt out on elections talk, but we will talk. I'm gonna have on the tail on the show my absolute final postmortem election thoughts, and then we'll put to bed for good. But before we bring in Kyle to do our usual student game report every Tuesday on the student game report on the Earnestly podcast, I have a couple of things I got my chest on about the NBA, because today marks 3 weeks since the season started, and I have to confess that I have not been as locked in to the season I thought I would be, as I normally am. I think a lot of it has to do with the election too, especially being so tied to media that involves talk about the election with the final weeks before the election. That was last week. Football season, of course, and other things of the nature, personal things. You guys know the NBA, basketball is my be-all end-all when it comes to sports. That's my first love. But it's a long year. It is a long season, and there's a lot of things also very, very frustrating too. My first thought, these injuries, all these stars getting injured, and I know it's not their fault. I know it's not on purpose. I hope anyway. I know. I've been frustrated with certain stars, not reading the room and not being more self-aware about, well, and I'm talking about Joel Embiid, of course, for example. He's one. Not being self-aware and talking about how he's not going to play back-to-backs and this kind of stuff, and not understanding that, hey, guess what, Joel? No offense, but people pay a lot of money those tickets to see you play. You're a top 10 guy in the league, possibly top 5, and we pay a lot of money to see you play live in person, and it behoove you to be available for the fans that pay money to see you. Read a room. No, he hasn't paid. And I'm not even saying that he's not hurt. He is hurt. I believe him, but it's the optics. It's the way he says it. It's the just kind of put it out there. It bothers me. But now all these stars getting hurt. Kevin Durant's missing some time. Chet Holmgren missed some time now, 8-10 weeks. Jimmy Butler missed Sunday against the Heat. We'll get to him in a second. Who else is out? A lot of stars are out. It's really annoying. It's really Paulo Banchero. Probably is it Bench? I'm gonna ask Kyle that when he gets on the show. Banchero. He said a hard CH. Banchero. That's the heartbreaker of all, because Orlando, prior to his injury, was surging, and he was. I mean, Kyle, I think 2 weeks ago, and I were talking about this on the show, and I'd asked him, is Paulo Banchero a top 10 guy, or do you see him being a top 10 guy as the season progresses? And then he gets hurt. He's out for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks, maybe. So Orlando's surge early in the year has already come to a halt. So these injuries are very annoying. Yeah, well, hope these guys get healthy soon, man. Because when you have stars not being available to play for no reason, whether or not it's self-made, or because it's just actual injuries, it sucks. It makes the league worse. So it makes it a lot worse and harder to watch. So, all right. Next thought here. The Giannis shit is real. Milwaukee Bucks out the shoot, not looking good. You're hearing rumors about Giannis Antetokounmpo. What if he gets traded? What if he doesn't? All that stuff. And yeah, I believe it. You've seen the last couple of years too, also, that the Bucks, well, Giannis in particular, this idea, him being this straight kid, just buttoned up, team first, which he is. I'm not saying he's not. You started seeing that strip away since winning the title in 2021. You've seen that part of him strip away, become more honest and more transparent. Right now, Milwaukee, as this recording, is 2-8. They are number 14 in the Eastern Conference, in a conference of 15 teams. Okay, so they are the second worst team right now in the Eastern Conference. They lost 2 in a row, lost eight the first 10 games out the shoot. And if you told me this was going to happen, if you told me the Bucks have been 2-8 out the shoot, I would have called you a liar. So I can understand Giannis being disgusted with what's going on in Milwaukee. Obviously, you got Doc Rivers, the coach. He's under a microscope, probably a hot seat at this point. The Dame Lillard, the Dame Giannis combo has not worked out. There's still a lot of feeling out process of that. And look, season's still young, but it's clear, and you see Giannis now come to the media, saying things. He's frustrated. I think the Giannis frustration is real, and I think we discussed before the year started, especially on the episode we did with Zach and Chris, when we were talking about the amount of whales, the amount of stars who can be available. Oh, Ian Darren Mill of Locked On Heat that Miami can go after. And Giannis, I mentioned Giannis could be the next wiggled star that if he says, "Get me the fuck out of here," I can see that. And he's been transparent all the way through. And why change now? The Bucks window was already limited as is, and now you've seen this start. You see New York. I would still start now, but obviously Boston's better. Cleveland's Cleveland's is out the shoot, 12-0. Get that in a second. I think the Giannis frustration is real. I think if the Bucks don't get past 500 by the time we get to Christmas, it will not shock me if he asks for a trade. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying that it won't shock me by Christmas. The Bucks are still struggling on 500, and things aren't getting better. That Giannis, the big Greek freak, top 3 player in the league, asks for a trade. Will not shock me whatsoever. All right, third thing on my mind. I am 95% sure that this is Jimmy Butler's last season in Miami. And the only reason I'm even leaving 5% on the table is because what the Heat go on a run and go to the finals, or you win the finals this year, which I don't see happening, but you never know. Eric Spoelstra has that kind of juice, but it just feels like, and the thing is too, it doesn't even feel like Jimmy's team anymore. He's already missed games already as is. And as a Heat fan, I'm actually okay with that, honestly, because you can't pay a guy 35 years old who has nothing to add to his game at this stage of his career. You can't pay a guy $60 million a season who's not even a top 25 player in the league. He was on my list this year. You can't do that. The guy, if the team didn't play Dwayne Wade, and you know how much Dwayne Wade means to his franchise. Quite a lot. The guy's a fucking statue outside the arena. Who the hell is Jimmy Butler? You know what I'm saying? If this was Kevin Durant, it'd be one thing, because at least Kevin Durant, his game is aging well into his late 30s. G Butler, not so much. G Butler's reliant on, the power game and go to the basket, but he doesn't have an outside shot. He doesn't have a jump shot. His mid-range game is okay at best. He's not adding more to his game. He's not going to get better. He's getting worse, and he's never available. And the other reason 5% might be is that he may actually opt in his contract. I think he has a warped idea of what his value is, in the market. I don't think I don't think there's a real Jimmy Butler market in the way he thinks it is. I don't think he's worth $56 million a year. I think Jimmy Butler at this stage of his career is worth no more than maybe 30. And that's on a short-term deal with a contender that can afford it. So I'm convinced this is his last year in Miami. And honestly, as a Heat fan, the way things are going, I'm okay with it. It has nothing to do with me not liking Jimmy Butler. I think he's been great here, great citizen here. He's top 5 Heat player all time. 2 finals appearances, should have been 3rd. But the reality is that the team can't, much like they did with Dwayne Wade in 2014, 2016. You can't pay a guy that's gonna, that's getting older, number one, whose game is aging worse, to hold your team hostage because you feel good about him. That's not good business. You're trying to be competitive in the now and for the future. And signing Jimmy Butler to a 50 plus $60 billion contract for 3 years means you're saying to yourself, well, we're going to be okay for 3 years. We're going to be mid at best, a play-in team, out first round, maybe a max conference finals if things break your way. No. Barring the Heat going on a run and Butler finding a way to hit jump shots and hit threes, adding to his game, which is not going to happen. At this point, I don't see it happening. This is going to be his last year unless he opts in, which I still don't see happening, honestly. So that's that. All right, fourth thought. I got 2 more thoughts here on the NBA in the first 3 weeks of the NBA season. Are we sure the Cavs are this good? The Cavs are 12-0 right now. Dominant. Very impressive start. And yet, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to burst a bubble, that it's a cool story. See me in January. Because when they lose their first game of the year at some point, because they won't, look, they're not going 8-0. They're not winning 70 games. They're not winning 73 games like this, what the Warriors did, the Bulls did in 96. Okay? When the rubber makes the road, in the spring, is this team still dependable? And I'm not there yet. It's a great start. I'm not knocking the Cavs fans not to be excited. I'm not saying not be excited. You should be. But at the same time, let's also be realistic here. Are the Cavs better than Boston right now? Are you taking Cavs? Buffalo. Boston and Cleveland in a 7-game set right now. Who wins? Boston does. Cleveland versus, I was going to say Milwaukee. Milwaukee sucks now. It's New York. I'm taking the Knicks. So maybe they're top 3, top 4 team in the East, yes. And maybe the ceiling now is the conference finals, by virtue of Milwaukee not being as underwhelming, of course. And, of course, if New York gets knocked out, Philadelphia still hasn't gotten any of the guys back. Embiid is out still. Paul George just got back. Now Tyrese Maxey's out. So maybe their ceiling is getting past Philadelphia. But I won't put money in it right now. I'll make a good value for it, but I'm putting money in it right now. I'm still skeptical about the Cavs, big picture. But we shall see. All right, final thought before I bring in Kyle. I really underrated. I think everybody underrated the Phoenix Suns heading into the year. They are another team that started off the year well so far. Number 2 in the West, 8-2 start. They should pass OKC now with Chet Holmgren out for 8-10 weeks. Kevin Durant, before getting hurt, on a tear. Devin Booker on a tear. The usual. Mike Budenholzer, of course, head coach, did a great job. The addition of Tyus Jones has really been helpful for this team. I'm checking some numbers here for Bradley Beal's numbers here because I haven't locked in the season where I wanted to, but I want to see Bradley Beal's numbers this year, but I don't see anything here currently. Roster, let me see. Roster, nothing here. Anyway, bottom line, maybe underrated the Suns, and this is the thing, because the West is wide open. Like there's no odds-on favorite. There's a bunch of favorites. I don't think Denver's the odds-on favorite anymore. OKC, while great start, a lot of youth. You still got to prove it. Dallas, of course, is always in the mix. There's like 7 teams in the West that, if things play their way, and the Lakers included, that can find themselves, playing NBA Finals. The Golden State Warriors all of a sudden now started the year well on a tear. They're 8-2 also. So, I mean, you have the Rockets 7-4 now currently. The Grizzlies now 7-4. The West is just wide open. There's no feel right now. I don't have a feel yet for the Western Conference. Even the Spurs are 5-6 right now. So no feel yet on the Western Conference. This is a bunch of really good teams. But I do think we underrated the Suns. That I'll give you. So, like I said, 3 weeks in, no really sense of where the season's going just yet. At least for the time being. Like I said, I haven't locked in, but now that the election's behind us, we can move forward. And I'll be paying even more attention now to these teams into the league now that the election's behind us, and we'll go from there. Anyway, it is time to bring in Kyle Nash to NFL Week 10 wrap up as we discuss the latest ongoings in NFL and college football, of course. Student report coming up. Student game report. All right, week number 11, week 10 the book, should I say? Week 11 approaching. Kyle Nash with us.
Goodness gracious, Ernest Christian. It's a good thing you're there. On behalf of all people who live in South Florida with you, thanks for saving the goddamn state from complete loss, annihilation. Holy shit. Good gravy. UCF, Jacksonville, Tampa.
So
wasn't
Florida,
there NHL losses as well? Shit, I don't know.
I think
Miami? Fucking Miami? Lost to Georgia Tech. What the shit, EJ? I don't know.
I think the Dolphins saved it.
Yeah,
the Dolphins saved the Florida teams losing this weekend.
Yeah,
yeah.
That is what I am thanking you. Yes.
What was it? 0-12 for Florida this weekend?
It's disgusting, is what I. I don't know what else to say.
Really bad. Anyway, I'll tell you what, not great Bob at all. But I will say this much: we talk about the bad. Or
Wait,
the
Magic one on Sunday. That
without Banchero. It's Banchero, right?
It's Banchero, yes. Yeah, and listen, it was. I get it, but a dub's a dub, and now they got the first winning streak they've had since this 5-game road skid. Man, still undefeated at home. Interestingly,
look, they need to get him back soon. So was it 4 to 6 weeks?
Well, it's they're saying 4 to 6, but man, like the obliques are tricky, dude. They're very essential to movement. So though he may be back, how back he is a question.
Top of the show, I mentioned, one of the things I'm so frustrated about the NBA season is the injuries, man. All these stars. Now, Chet Holmgren's out for 8-10 weeks. Tyrese Maxey's out for a little bit.
I heard about Maxey, right?
Yeah, it's getting bad. It's getting really bad in the league now. All these stars getting hurt. Kevin Durant's hurt for a couple weeks now.
I mean, it's different when it's Durant and Embiid. We all expect it at some point in the season, but some names that aren't associated with injury have come out, like Paolo and all that stuff.
Right.
I just... It is what it is, but the defense of better now than later holds true. I think it was Franz or Mo Wagner, one of the Wagners, made that point actually after the win against New Orleans, the Pelicans, on Friday. But anyways, enough about that. We're here to talk friggin' football.
Yeah, and we talk about bad news, but the Detroit Lions are the good news, and I think that right now, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this.
No, how drug and do Walter White is pipelining so much meth to every bit of football or college, NFL or otherwise, brother. Holy snap. Go ahead.
By the way, you can ask my wife herself. 23-7 halftime score.
I will
Houston over Detroit. And I told my wife.
For those who are watching the video, I have my phone right here. I can text EJ Christian's wife.
Yes. I told her at halftime, Detroit's winning this game. In what world now do we live in where I say the Lions are down 23-7 at halftime, and I say the Lions come out and win this game? This is crazy. Are you gonna text her now?
Actually,
in the meantime, while you waste time on my fucking podcast, that being said,
it's done. Go ahead.
Okay, we did not say we did not have a show last week on Huddle Up podcast. So we weren't able to see my power rankings. But
you didn't have a show on Huddle Up podcast, but you go to the Huddle Up podcast YouTube channel and see the Student of the Game mid-season awards featuring me and Mikey the Bernier. So there's that.
However, I had Detroit as number 1 on my rankings last week. I made the switch.
And rightly so.
Right.
Just overtime win, sneaking past Champa Bay there. He puts in, I hate that name.
Champa Bay.
But that should never have been that close a game in my opinion.
For the Chiefs, of course, right? Yeah.
Correct. Good. I mean, the Bucs are playing out of their minds. They do look like a playoff team. They're just not getting the right dubs in the right places, man.
Yeah. Are the Lions the best team in football right now?
Best team in football? I mean, the Ravens have entered the chat, wouldn't you say? I will answer by saying it's one of those two teams, right? And the reason why I answer the way I answer is because of the chaos associated with Madden Campbell, right? I feel like the ceiling is higher for the Lions than the Ravens. Like the Lions' best day looks better than the Ravens' best day because I just think they have a more complete roster, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
The line's better. The secondary has been playing better in Detroit, which still feels weird to say to an extent, but I digress. However, when they're bad, the Lions, their floor is lower than the Ravens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
no, I made a switch last week, and I mean, spoiler alert, this week you'll see it again. Detroit number 1 in the league right now, currently on my rankings.
They awarded for bouncing back the way they did, in my opinion.
Right, and only that is people say, well, the schedule. No, they've played some good teams.
The NFC North is clearly the best division in the NFC.
Right, and they've beaten the Texans, they've beaten the Vikings, they've beaten all the teams you need to beat to make this a conversation. And I think right now I would say they are the favorites in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a clear cut favorite now in the NFC now.
Some of us had the Lions making the Super Bowl in August and September.
Yeah, so they're favorites, and that's that.
The favorites now. Hold on, let's clarify.
NFC favorites now.
Okay.
Like if I'm gonna say. If I put the Lions over the Chiefs or the Ravens in the Super Bowl, like I possibly may pick them to win, but it's a 51-49.
But that being said, Mr. 10 Green Tones Down, one of the Lions win also features your Packers in Lambeau.
That's true.
So
yeah,
and I'm not talking shit. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah. So, the Chiefs though. And because they're the other team in this equation also too of right. Like top tier. There's a tier 1 for me. It's the Chiefs. It's in any order: Chiefs, Lions, and Ravens. Tier 1 for me. Are the Chiefs lucky, or do you really just great?
The answer is both.
Yeah,
obviously,
that is the right answer.
Right. I mean, this feels different than when Brady and the Patriots got lucky, right? Because there have been really great there have been more really great moments from the Chiefs over the past however many years than there have been lucky ones. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Chiefs weren't ever lucky. That's just an accurate statement. What it was a moment of weakness for a Chiefs team that doesn't have any. Right? For those of us that saw the original Top Gun, right? Why did they call him Iceman? It's because he waited for you to make a mistake. And even if you make it right at the end of the fucking game with some of the worst protection in special teams in the NFL, in an NFL game that I've seen in a while. And let's not act like the Chiefs didn't do their part as well. I mean, I mentioned them not making mistakes, but they made mistakes too. Missed field goals, right? Patty Mahomes missed Travis Kelce in the end zone, which is not something you hear about happening very often, but can we please stop talking about the Chiefs and how good or bad they might have been and start throwing a little props for all those out there who were trying to nix Bo as somebody who would work with Sean Payton? This is going to be interesting, EJ Christian.
Right.
Because should the Chiefs win another Super Bowl in 3-peat, they're going to lose names. People are going to start retiring. Travis Michael Kelce. I can argue.
Wait, you think he retires?
Absolutely.
Wow.
He looks like, I mean, has he looked great? First of all, he started to decline last year. Travis has too many off the field allures, even without this isn't a Taylor Swift point, so take it easy. But he has too many. The fact that Jason Kelce has retired, in my opinion, has a bigger impact than anything Taylor Swift has to say about it. I'm not saying she's not a factor. I'm saying Jason Kelce retiring and perhaps showing, how cool not having to deal with the rigmarole and grind of football might be a lure, right?
Yeah.
Then over and above, I feel like Chris Jones, might be on his last legs, at least in KC, right?
How old is Chris Jones now?
It's not about his age, it's about his price tag.
He's on a 1-year deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's already a rental. And now granted, if certain elements depart like I'm talking about, that could free things up. But and listen, people may think I'm nuts to suggest any of this, but the point is, stuff like this is the combination that you have. The Kansas City Chiefs would have to probably change their identity for a third time. Are they going to actually try to keep DeAndre Hopkins in the building? Is he young enough to be kept in the building? Hell, I don't know. But these are all questions that are coming up. Now, I'm also not saying that Andy Reid won't answer these questions. He's done it in the past. Do we have to have the Tyreek Hill conversation again? No, I don't believe we do, right? You know what I'm saying? Ranked number 1 in the NFL top 100 last year, but Patty Mahomes is still winning without him. This is just kind of what the hell Patty Mahomes does. This is what makes him in the GOAT conversation, right? Because what's interesting about the Chiefs, and I've said it time and again, is that he's that's a defensive squad, okay, through and through. By the way, Chris Jones is 30 years old, relatively young for a line presence. That being
so in his prime, yeah.
I'm not going to say prime, but he could probably still play at a pretty high level. But I don't know that his contract should command what it does, right? Like because his current deal. This is interesting. I didn't realize it was a 5-year deal.
Oh, you got extension?
Well, that's how they brought him back in the building, right?
Right.
And it says pending free agent extension here. I'm looking on Spot Rack, right? So 24. His base is 1.2, but it's the signing bonus. That's
no. He did sign that 5-year deal actually. In the year.
That's what I told you. Yeah, like
so
I mean, his contract extends into 28, but I mean, it's a matter. I think. Well, let's put it this way: at the very least, he's going to be around through 25 because, man, dad cap hit. It's well, I say 25, maybe even 26 based on what I'm looking at here. There's contract language is the point.
Yeah. But the point is, though, the Chiefs are.
There's going to be people that are moving or looking to.
Of course, they're on the fringes. Yes.
Yeah, the Karloftises, the people of that ilk. I don't know what Creed Humphrey's contract looks like, but I'm not going to take the time to look that up. But I would imagine the center would need to be taken care of. Now that he's this many in and he's been the center for a damn three-peat, those kinds of continuity pieces, you're going to have to pay for them. And rightly so, frankly.
And yet they just squeeze by, but it looks like they're just like the lucky or the good. I mean, I think sometimes I know it's both.
Well, listen, NBA guy, before we talk too much about this, how many teams have there been in the NBA that turned the switch on postseason? Why can't the Chiefs be that team?
And that's what makes me more scarier is the fact that they're 9-0. People are like, well, this team doesn't look like a great team, and they could be easily, under 500 based on some of the games how these games swung, and yet. The scary part is that at any point they can turn on to be the old Chiefs again, like they did last year after the Raiders lost in week 17 or whatever it was, and turn it on, and then next thing you know they win the Super Bowl. So that's kind of the okie doke they do all the time to people.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the Chiefs since Patrick Mahomes II has been the quarterback have hit those slow rolls every now and again.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that, but they're still going to win 12 games. They're still going to get at least one playoff win, unless it's stolen from them by D Ford, you know. God, can you imagine how much that would alter history if Thomas Edward, Patrick Beaver Brady were beaten by a first-year starting Patrick LeVar Mahomes II?
Yeah, crazy,
Jesus
right?
Christ.
For real. Oh, you following the drama in Dallas, man? Oh my God.
Man,
The Cowboys, they look, they suck. They're going to playoffs, and now everything's falling apart.
I
Now
have a
players are fighting
10-year-old
now.
daughter that's going on 15 and a wife. I don't need extra drama.
The Dallas Cowboys, man. You know, for me, their issue is it was timing. It was not that it's not.
But okay,
It's not that they paid Dak. It's that they didn't pay Dak last year on a better number for them to have enough money
how
to
much better
free
would
up.
it have been though?
I mean, I'm not saying Dak's a problem. I'm just saying
No. I'm asking you, how much better would that number have been? Because I'm saying Dak's a problem.
Oh,
and I don't mean in the talent sense. I don't mean like that. But he's not the quarterback he used to be. And he's showing a pattern of having trouble staying on the field.
in just 1 year, though. Like last year, he was literally number 2 in the MVP because MVP list. And all of a sudden, he's sucks now.
I never said who said sucks. Nobody used that word.
No, I'm saying, but I mean, look. The things that I understood why they paid Dak. What my problem was that
you tell me why they paid Dak. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have.
My issue is
I don't know. Maybe the correct answer was to actually draft a quarterback at some point to groom, other than Riptide Rush or relying on developing Trey Lance. Maybe that should have been the answer.
Or maybe if he knew Dak's gonna be a quarterback, just pay him last year when the number's lower.
But how much lower would it have been? I mean,
enough to get Derrick Henry in the building, probably.
Maybe that's a good response.
That's my larger point. They don't have no running game, obviously, this year.
Yeah, to at least get a good running back. No, and that's fair. Or maybe not rely on what they have as their offensive line. Because can we be clear? That's the goddamn problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
This same line that's aged alongside of Dakota here is part of the problem, right?
Oh yeah, they're getting older, and on top of that,
the ones that are still there, by the way, they're old.
And everybody's fighting now. Everybody's it's not infighting now. Everybody's talking shit. Micah Parsons included. He had some words to say about his head coach, Mr. One Mike McCarthy. Very. Let's play the audio here and see what he said about Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I haven't heard this yet.
You heard this yet? Okay, let's play
I have not heard this yet. Yeah.
Here we go. Hold on, let me play it now. Give me 1 second. Right there.
Mike can leave and go wherever he wants, but the guys I kind of feel bad for is guys like Zach Martin and guys who might be on their last year on their way out. Because that's who I wanted to hold the trophy for. You want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
Woo! Wow.
So first of all, easy there, young buck. Let's not forget that Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl.
Thank you.
And can we? I don't know what we're talking about. No work by Mike McCarthy. Now if he's playing the statement of, as far as working hard in practice and putting their bodies on the line, that's true. But that's also an ignorant take. That's not the job, right?
I mean, McCarthy's been in the league coaching on this level at least as a coordinator since 1992.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? Like Mike Parsons was born.
Go ahead.
What?
You have to make the point I'm going to go.
Mike Parsons was born 1999.
There you go.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? And listen, I like Micah Parsons, man, but like that's your criticism's valid. You threw the wrong punch. All right, it should have been a body blow.
I think my issue too is why are you bringing this out public? You're read a room. You're part of the biggest franchise arguably in sports. Okay, any quote from anyone on that team is going to be taken and blown up. Okay, actually, what are you doing?
If I may,
go ahead.
If there is a front office with whom you should negotiate through the media, isn't it Jera and the Dallas Cowboys?
I guess. I'm
not saying I recommend it.
Right.
But I feel like, for example, this is not a play you should make in Minnesota. Even like, let's say it was somebody who was complaining about being frauds at 13-7 and getting eliminated by not the coach of the year that year. Right. If a player went off on Minnesota's front office that way publicly, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
No.
right? So
it's clear. Obviously, Mike McCarthy is done in Dallas. Is whether it'll happen this week, next week, or January.
it would be more distressing if he said, "This is why we need to get Dion in here," but
more on that later.
We're on that later
because that's been circling the drain a little bit the last couple of days and on sports talk and whatnot.
Talk about that being a rumor, man. Ain't nobody in the damn Dallas franchise started that rumor. The media started that shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But yeah, Mike, you got to be in the room, bro. Like you're supposed to be the leader of this team. You're the best defensive player on the team, and like, what are you doing? Like, keep indoors.
It's not that I don't like the attempt, but again, it was the execution. To me, that was the problem.
And he said that he was his intent wasn't to do what he did there. But he may have the wrong words. Yeah, he did say that.
Sneeze right there.
Yeah. No, I know. I heard that. But yeah, you read a room. You're gonna talk about a guy who won a Super Bowl and has been coaching at this level longer before you're born, and you're gonna sit there and talk shit about him. Look, if you want to people about Mike McCarthy, I mean, he's not doing a good job this year. Fine, we have this conversation. But come on now, read a room.
Man, that's just a bad take. Anyways,
it's a really bad take. Really bad take. Speaking of coaching, though, is
no.
So I have a take here.
Okay.
On the New York Giants.
Oh, I thought you were going to pick up Dougie P. My bad. Go ahead.
No. Because I think, look, it's Daniel Jones is on borrowed time at this point. They're get out this contract after this year, which I'm sure they're going to do that. And depending on what they're going to draft,
me is that Daniel Jones is a fat kid in dodgeball.
Correct.
Okay.
There's obviously the discussion now with them being 2-8 right now, having the first pick in the draft right now as we sit here.
I mean, the only reason why they have the first pick is because of a bye week. That's not hold, but
of course, yeah. That being said, Brian Daboll. I mean, look, for the last 3 years of this podcast, he's been a very controversial figure on this podcast because year one I went all in on the guy, say he was coach of the year. You disagree with that? I get that.
And I actually used football evidence and all of that.
No one cares what you did. Okay, thank you.
Then why do you keep having me back on this show, Chief?
Because I love you. That's why. Because I love you.
Damn right.
But there's a conversation now about, okay, if the Giants are going to clean house with starting the quarterback, that Brian Daboll might be gone with them. I actually disagree with that move. I think Brian Daboll, this is my opinion, Brian Daboll should be allowed to.
You just can't quit
choose
Daboll with you, bro.
Well, my thing is that number one, this wasn't his quarterback.
Okay.
He didn't pick him. He didn't Joe Shane. This was David Gettleman.
That doesn't fly.
Right.
Is if that were true, Saquon would have stayed in the building. Or let me rephrase. What you're saying is true. But because Saquon was asked to leave the building, essentially. Yeah. You can't use that defense anymore.
Well, I can see argument for firing Joe Shane for that. Brian Daboll, I'm a little on the fence on that one.
And who knows? Maybe after Daboll is fired, which he will be.
He'll be fired?
I do.
Okay.
And I reserve the right to be wrong on that, but that's just my inclination.
Should he be fired, though?
That's a separate question.
And that's what I'm asking.
I think it's less about the actual performance and using one of your favorite terms, EJ, and more about the optics, right?
I love that word, optics.
I think it's an element of sending a message to the fans and the franchise that it's a brave new world, and you're doing whatever, you're removing whatever stink you can. And Brian Daboll, fair or not, and it really depends on whose opinion we're talking about here, whether it be yours, mine, and if it was that kind of situation, right? Fair or not, if I'm in the front office, that is part of my consideration for moving Daboll out, right?
Right. Well, like I said, I stayed my piece about that earlier, about the fact that
I'll say this in your defense. If you're asking me what's more likely, Eberflus gone in Chicago is more likely than Daboll.
That I agree with 100%.
WP at this point is more likely than Daboll in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Cincinnati Bengals, 4-6. And yet I still think they make the playoffs. And in fact,
Okay, well,
in fact, and I know I fenced it initially on this take last week.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to reverse now on this and say, fuck you. I'm going 10 toes down that. Bengals in the playoffs.
10 orange toes down.
10 orange toes down. I know Mike V's getting mad at me for saying that.
Well, yeah, because you are in fact jinxing his team.
Don't give a fuck.
Well, no, you've made that quite clear.
Yeah.
But also, I am aware of your penchant for the occasional recreational drug use, and I'm assuming that that's involved with this take.
No.
Look at
the optics.
As somebody tells me that how much divisional games matter, divisional rivalries matter, and defense matters, the Bengals haven't been doing hot in either category so far.
Mm-hmm.
So, and listen, it's not that I am enjoying the Bengals suffering. I'm not. I am a Joey Bear guy at one point on this podcast. I had brought him up in the conversation, though I did not think it would pass. I brought him up for 3-name status, and we still aren't getting it, and rightly so, But the part that stuff is Joseph Burr has been playing well. That defense is just terrible. By the way, Ms. Christian responds saying yes, and only I get to call him a tool. Well,
there you go. See, said that. See, there you go.
Conversation
with the wife, and she's pretty honest.
Yes, you haven't seen the coffee mug lately.
But why don't you see the Bengals make the playoffs? And my take is more so the environment.
Because they keep the goddamn football games, Christian. Come on, Jaworski, what are we doing? I just called you 2 different last names. That's awesome. What are we doing here? They're not going to get in the playoffs because they aren't winning the fucking games.
I can't believe that name's a thing.
To play to win the game.
Here's the thing, though. Look at the screen here, folks. So I'm confident that the loser of the AFC North, the other team will make the 5 seed, Ravens and Steelers. It's clear my Chargers pick, or almost pick, is going to work out at this point now. Maybe it's a 7 seed. The Broncos are 7 seed. Okay. 8 and 9 tied. Colts and Bengals. Bengals are 1 game behind in the wild card.
Here's the problem, EJ. You're putting them in the race and all that. That's very cute. It really is. Who do you feel more confident? If I said to you, fuck the schedule, fuck any of that. Next week, one of these 3 teams is going to win a football game. Who do you think it is? The Broncos, Colts, or Bengals?
So next week, Broncos play next
No. You're violating the premise anyway. Just based on instinct. Hubba, money. Who the fuck do you trust? Is it the Broncos, Colts, or the Bengals? One of these teams is going to win a football game next week. Who do you put your money on?
Bengals.
Bullshit.
Bengals.
By your own admission, defense, you need defense to win, and they don't have it, and that's why they've been losing football games, sir.
I agree, but I also think that
I agree, but I'm also going to contradict myself.
But I'm gonna add this to also, brother, that their offense is good enough to make up for those deficiencies right now.
Apparently not.
Well, they almost beat Baltimore on Thursday.
They almost beat Baltimore. You know what that shit?
And they got screwed in that game. They got screwed in that game for the record. Missed calls up the ass.
Damn. For those, by the way, who those who aren't watching things on the Earnest EJ Christian YouTube channel, that's me throwing up an L to the camera every time I say bam, because that's what they're getting. Listen, Joey Burr has played some great football games. They're still fucking losing. They got screwed. Who cares? Still an L. At the end of the day, it's only college football that cares about how you win them. In the NFL, they just count them. They don't ask how it happened.
Here's the thing, though, too. Also, at this point, I have the opinion right now that 8 and 9 in AFC may get you in.
Okay, well, so you're resetting the conversation a little bit. I'm not blaming you for doing that, by the way.
I'm making the argument, though.
Right, and I think this path of thinking is your best argument.
Right. So
yeah, you're assuming. No, you're declaring a team with a losing record makes the playoffs, which welcome back to why 7 playoff teams is stupid in each bracket. Nothing we can do about that shit now. It's sales.
So 9 and 8 based on this theory of the eight wins getting you win, guarantees a spot in the playoffs at this point now. So
right.
The question remains now: can you find 5 wins under schedule going forward?
You could find it on the Bengals, and they still keep losing so far. That's the goddamn problem.
Okay, next week, Chargers at Chargers.
Can you guarantee that? I can't.
That is still a toss-up game, though.
Okay,
in my opinion. Okay, toss-up game.
Nobody said it wasn't. I didn't use the word toss-up. Don't
let's find.
But you can't chalk that up as a win. Agree?
Let's find 5 wins. Let's find 5 wins.
5 guaranteed wins.
Okay, so I find a guaranteed win in Dallas. I find a guaranteed win against Tennessee. I find a guaranteed win against Cleveland home. Okay.
Which, I mean, I could debate, but this particular year, I think you're right. Yes.
Right. Look at week 17, Denver and Cincinnati. Winner take all, probably.
You mean Denver and Pittsburgh, sir?
No. Look, week 17.
Well, no, you said Denver and Cincinnati. Well,
no.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the last 2 games. You mean just week 17. I beg
week 17, right? Week 17, Denver and Cincinnati.
That ain't a fucking gimme.
Well, yeah, but I would probably give the edge to Cincinnati, those 2.
But no, sir.
So no, but if they win that game, they'll not have the tiebreaker as well as the lead.
Let's take a step back. So you're giving me they have 3 guaranteed wins,
right?
In Dallas,
Tennessee,
the Titans, and the Browns.
Right?
Okay. I don't hate it. Okay, and you said the magic number is 5. They're still too short.
Right.
So you're telling me that they have to split with the Steelers and beat the Broncos.
But here's the argument, though.
Or beat the Chargers. That's easy.
Right, but the team that competing against to get that spot, though, other than Indy, and Indy at this point is up and down, way too up and down, is the winner of that Week 17 game between Denver and Cincinnati pretty much might have that thing locked up by Week 18.
Okay, so actually that makes it more difficult. You're saying guarantee wins are cute. They have to win the Broncos game.
Well, of course. But only that, that's also who they're fighting against to get that spot.
That's why it is a have to. Okay?
Yeah.
You know what? Must win Week 17.
Oh, duh.
Okay? You say duh, but you're the same dumb motherfucker that tried to tell me Week 1 games are must win. Anyways.
Well, it depends on the optics.
Stop it.
You stop it.
The optics for must win Week 1 is always shit. Period.
And honestly,
story's over.
Okay. They got Steelers twice coming up.
I understand.
I'll split it.
Okay, so what you're saying is So you're saying you have 3 guaranteed wins in Dallas, the Titans, and the Browns. If any of those are losses, the game's over. Okay,
yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh yeah. So you have the 3 there. I'll lean them over Denver. A lean, like politics.
I think that's a mistake, but okay.
A lean, and then I'll split with the Steelers. That's 5 wins.
Well, even if they get the 5, they have to have the Broncos game. That's the point. So if they beat the Chargers, split the Steelers, and get these other 3 guarantees, but lose to the Broncos, I think they're still out. Without having looked at Denver's schedule, by the way.
And this is also assuming Denver holds up still.
That's why I said what I said. We haven't looked.
Should we do that now?
It sounds like your argument is hinging on it.
Yeah, let's do it now. Denver Broncos, not Nuggets. Denver Broncos schedule. Here we go. So Denver Broncos are 5-5 now. They probably need 6 wins to secure themselves. So here are their last 6 games. Falcons at home. And
remember, the Broncos are in the current 7th seed.
Correct. So this is why I said 6 games to secure it. 5 to secure it.
No, they need 5 to secure it if they beat Cincy.
4 to play to be frisky.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Stupid, but
so next week, Falcons at home.
That's a toss-up.
There we go. Raiders on the road.
You think I'm going to pick the Broncos to lose to the Raiders? No, I would count that as a guarantee.
Okay, so that's 1 win. Browns at home.
I'm going to call that a guarantee as well.
Okay, that's 2. Colts at home.
Okay, I know that's an important game, but with the way the Colts have been playing lately, can you not call that a guaranteed Denver win?
Okay, that's 3. Chargers on the road.
I'll
go to San Diego.
I'll call it a toss-up. I think you're right.
I'll go to San Diego, though.
Okay.
All right, and then, of course, the big game against Cincinnati, of course.
Another toss-up game.
Okay, and then Chiefs to close the year out. But again,
they're
Chiefs
not playing starters. They'll have it locked by then.
Yeah, so Denver has the inside track.
So actually, ironically, in terms of their playoff hopes, Denver is cheering for KC to sprint, to sprint immediately past the Ravens beyond repair. They're looking for the Ravens to lock the second seed.
Not just the Ravens.
At that point, or no, excuse me. Let me word it better. They're looking for the Chiefs to lock the top seed in home field,
which means
the Chiefs would sit their people, and they'd be playing Carson Wentz instead of Patrick Mahomes II. That's suddenly a very winnable football game. And even if they lose to the Bengals, they don't need the tiebreak if they win in Week 18, which I think the Steelers will probably be playing for something.
By the way, ain't just Baltimore anymore. It's also Buffalo too this week. Because if Buffalo beats Chiefs this week, the only game off. So I'm just saying, it's something to look at.
Well, wait, Buffalo's not undefeated right now.
They're 8-2, but they play. They're the other team chasing the Chiefs.
Oh, right, but the Chiefs would still be up with only one loss. But the Chiefs will be playing. Buffalo's a factor. You're correct. Yes, I'll leave it with that.
And obviously we'll know more next week after this week's over when the Bills Chiefs game, of course. But yeah, definitely the AFC wild cards picture definitely is a race between those two teams. I know the Colts are in that spot, but I don't trust the Colts to close the deal out. So the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, the hell are we doing this, Kyle? Are we buying in? Are they in favor of the NFC West right now?
No, there isn't a favorite in the NFC West.
That's some fence-sitting shit there by you, and I don't like this.
It's not fence-sitting at all. Because, and the reason, listen, and I understand, I understand why you're saying what you're saying about fence-sitting.
Right.
Because we don't know what the hell we have. Hubba, money. Can you trust any of these fucking teams right now? Let's say this. I knew if Monday didn't happen, I knew you were going to pull your yearly, how about those Rams conversations, but they just lost to the fucking Dolphins. So you can't do that this week.
you know how this works with me now. You know how this shit works.
Well, and listen, I talk shit on you as if it's a tradition, and that's because it is.
To be fair, though,
part of that is the Rams' fault, too. They present the argument.
Although, to be fair, though, I pulled that the Rams part 2 weeks ago, though, when they started.
It's different. It's different when you're doing it that early in the season.
Right.
Like it's yearly after the midway point, you bring the Rams up. And again, not blaming you for that.
Yeah.
You know, they in their defense, the Rams have been mid-tier to tier 1-ish, low 2 to high 2 in the NFL for some time.
Yeah.
Right? It cannot blame you for that. And just they happen to be a good franchise, man. We both have underestimated what Matthew Stafford is. John Matthew Stafford, I should say, is, and that he would last this long after that Super Bowl win. Like, my ass thought for sure he was out. But I mean, like, before you get all hot and bothered about the Cardinals, shall we examine some of their wins, right? Excuse me. The Dolphins with Tua's first week back. The Bears, not precisely impressive with the way they've been playing lately. And the most disappointing team in the NFL, the Jets, which, I mean, you could say the Bengals as well. But
I'm going to say that too also. My one thing, and I agree with you on the teams, they have a bunch of nobodies. But what I will say, though, in their defense, though, this is why I brought this up in the first place. They're at least being those teams where you're supposed to.
Well, and again, but Kyle, you just said how they do it doesn't matter. Cool. They still have the Vikings on their schedule later. And they still have to play the Niners to decide it all in the final week of play.
I'm with you for the record. Like, if you asked me, gun to my head, who wins the division, I'm still going San Francisco.
It's because they keep missing. NFC teams keep missing the opportunity to take them out.
Yeah. Tampa.
This past weekend, is the best example, right? Moody missed, 3 kicks? And they couldn't finish the fucking job?
Yeah. But I will say the Cardinals are making it harder to make that case against them because of the way they've been winning the last couple of weeks.
I think that's more about the opposition starting to fall apart than
there's a little bit of that too also, but if the Cardinals aren't playing down to the level, because that's the thing. We don't historically trust the Cardinals.
Playing down to the level. If that's your best defense, I can't help you. The reason, again, whole reason, if I'll put it this way, if they win the next 3, Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle.
Yeah.
I will reopen this conversation and openly declare the Cardinals the favorite, as they'd be basically in the driver's seat at that point.
One last NFL thing. This week's a prime example why we, not just me, but we never trust the fraud cons. They're not the Falcons.
Okay. Pump the brakes there.
You're gonna defend the Falcons here now?
I'm not defending the Falcons so much as I'm defending the science and art of football, right? Like, and here's the thing. As somebody who preaches to me how much divisional physics matter, especially between those two teams. Every year, if you pick the Saints and Falcons to split, you'd be right. All that game was the Saints being that desperate to catch back up. And let's be clear, Younghoe Koo did his part in declaring that loss.
Yep.
Okay.
Field goals, right?
Let's not act like Coco Chains and that group didn't put themselves in position to win. Now, granted, the real answer is get some goddamn touchdowns, duh. Okay, fine.
There you go.
But like the Falcons defense, which isn't remarkable, held the Saints to 20 points. Younghoe Koo did enough. I think it was enough or missed enough. Did he miss one or two field goals? I can't.
At least two.
Was it two? Okay. So, man, that's a motherfucking football game. So who's fraudulent here? Your analysis. Damn, that's mean.
it's overall narrative too. Also, because like if we're gonna take
3 field goals,
if we're taking them seriously as a contender in the NFC, these are the games you need to win.
But they've won games like this in the past, buddy. Like, and I listen to me. If you're going to play this card, okay, the correct answer. No, actually, you can't do that because they've beaten the Bucks. I thought they beat the Bucks twice. They've swept the Bucks. How little they need this game in the division right now can't be stressed enough. Right? Look at what they are in the division right now. They're 4-1 in the fucking division, and you're calling them the fraud cons. Do better.
Well, you're the one that call them that.
I am originally the one that called
you. You are the originator of the fraud con term in the first place.
I am. Just like I'm the original quack motherfucker, and even though I think the Oregon Ducks are frauds, right? But
that later.
Who is it in this pairing, sir, that has the fraud cons winning 11 games?
I think I had the over.
I have them winning 11 games. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem.
I'm me. Oh man! All right.
Did you pull the Taylor Swift defense there?
Oh no, I didn't. No, I did hear that. I like that. It's me.
So if they come out like they're at 6. Here are some of the games that will get them to 10. Okay, Raiders, Giants, Panthers. There's one more here that's easy, right? No, okay. I got them to 9 with Raiders, Giants, Panthers. They're at 9 wins. They have to beat some combination of the Commanders, the Vikings, the Chargers, and Broncos. You're telling me they can't go 2-2 in that grouping?
Yeah, you could. Just gotta trust them.
Well, apparently I did in August because I said 11 wins.
This is so weird. Are you trusting the Falcons all of a sudden? This is
knowing
our history with the show.
Who was more confused? Go listen to the goddamn show on the damn Huddle Up podcast YouTube channel that's tuned to the game. I was openly confused.
No different today.
Probably fair.
All right, fuck it. Let's get to college football. Top 20.
You couldn't handle the truth up in that.
I just think
the moment you put that in the notes, I was ready for your bullshit.
No, that's good. I'm just, I get it. The Falcons who are the I wasn't surprised at the result.
Hey, you know what I'm not doing? Fence sitting, bitch. Move on.
That's the one team you have to fence it on because I don't fucking trust them.
What'd you say?
That's the one team I'll definitely. If there's anything in the league that I will fence it on, is that one.
Oh.
I would never.
So you went from Dirty Bird to Yellow Bird, did you? Interesting.
And on that note,
it's funny because I said you're a coward.
Okay.
Well, no, you're not a coward. You said Vanderbilt should be ranked 2. Boom! Segue.
Here you go. And by the way, Falcons. I again, they're the only team that gets that, and I'll take the blame for that. All right, top 25. We'll have a new top 12 tonight. In college football, after we now in the reveal portion of the season down. But in the meantime, we'll still acknowledge the teams in 25. So at 25, I think this is new, right? Tulane unchanged or new, I guess.
I think didn't they flirt with it earlier in the year? I don't know. The fact
maybe
that
they did
isn't here is the fact. It just proves how much the committee is bigger cowards than the AP voters. But
did they lose this weekend?
I don't remember. I'm just talking.
Okay. All right, 24. 24 Missouri.
I don't love it. You know,
23 South Carolina.
That's dumb.
I know where. All right, 22 up 3 spots. Louisville.
Dumber.
Down 7 spots. 21 LSU.
I don't know why they're that high, but I get keeping them in the top. Man, LSU. It's so hard to make sense of LSU, man.
And the
if you can take the bias out of Brian Kelly being the coach, which we know some people can't do, it's hard to evaluate them, man.
Yep.
They have good wins. They have quality losses. I mean, honestly, listen, no bull. That's what's keeping them alive is quality losses, don't you think?
Yeah.
As much as I make jokes about it, that's what's keeping them alive in the eyes of the committee.
Although that Alabama loss is pretty fucking bad. All right, 20 down 3.
Hold on. That Alabama loss is pretty bad. I want you to remember that statement as we head up the rankings.
I'm just saying that. I mean,
no. As we head up the rankings,
okay,
we're gonna revisit that. Go ahead.
Up 2 spots, 20 Kansas State.
A little too low, in my opinion, but I'm not mad they're there.
All right, up 1 spot, Washington State.
Asinine.
8-1.
I don't care.
Okay.
Because again, you every time you respond with the record, I'm going to push the little button here on the website and remind you that the only team of any worth they've played is Boise State. I don't know. Do you count Texas Tech? I don't.
Up 3 spots, 18.
Juggernauts is Portland State, Hawaii, and Fresno. Hey, they played UCF's Mikey Keene. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Up 3 spots to 18. Colorado. Oh, my boys, Colorado. Let's go.
Hey, you want me to trigger some people out there, EJ Christian?
Do it, baby. Do it.
Too low.
I can argue that. Yeah. 17 up 2 spots. Clemson.
Too high.
Oh my God.
Way too high. They're higher than Zach during one of your goddamn podcasts.
That's tomorrow night. All right. Up 2 spots.
Bing. Yes.
Bing. Right. Up 2 spots at 16. Oh my God. Army.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I take it back with Clemson. They have a quality loss getting manhandled by Georgia in week 1, 34-3.
All right. There you go. Army at 16, up 2 spots.
Not to sound unpatriotic, but what the fuck are we doing here, guys?
For real.
I love the story, but God damn it. If I have to live in a world where I had to listen to people criticize UCF schedule in 2017 and 2018, what the fuck are we doing here? They shouldn't be top 20. Well, no, 20 is a good spot. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Unchanged at 15, Texas A&M.
Boy, they're confusing, aren't they? Boy, they're confusing. I don't see. Part of it is Notre Dame is being overrated, and they're counted as a quality loss, right? And then they turn around and beat LSU, which again is another confusing team. And it's them having beaten LSU and Missouri that makes this confusing. Okay. They've played 3 teams that themselves are confusing to analyze, and they've beaten 2 of them. So they're getting the benefit of that doubt. I guess the only reason the committee's putting them that low is they're punishing them for losing to South Carolina. So we'll see what happens.
Right. All right. Down 1 spot at 14, SMU.
SMU at 14. EJ Christian.
What?
EJ Christian. Look at me. Look at me. There's no way you approve of this, right? What are we doing? What are we doing?
All right. Down 1 spot, Boise State. 13, by the way.
Before I declare what I want to declare, let me redouble their schedule. Let me look at here real quick. I'm not going to shout that they're cowards, but I'm not comfortable living in a world where they lose.
In
a world where you lose to a group of frauds that's ranked number 1 by only 3 points. You shouldn't be outside of the top 10.
Jesus.
Right?
All right. Down 8 spots. And rightly so. Number 12, Miami.
Pop quiz, EJ Christian. Do you
Yes.
put Boise State ahead of Miami?
Yes.
I'm very close. I'm not unhappy. I am going to fence sit on that one. I would do it, but it's mostly because of my ACC bias.
Put it this way.
Yeah.
Boise State's loss is better than Miami's loss.
But the overall schedule is slightly stronger for Miami. So
very slightly. I mean, talk about slight on a curve.
I mean, okay, this isn't the American pre-Big 12 expansion here. It's not that fucking.
The ACC is too damn. And to be real too. Also, Miami's wins not impressive either. Like they skated by.
They are close, but yeah, the level competition for Miami is clearly higher, right? It's Nevada, San Diego State, UNLV. UNLV might be the next best team they face after Oregon. Well, no, they're going to say it's Washington State, who themselves are frauds. That's tough. For now, I would say Miami belongs ahead of them. We'll leave it at that.
All right, down 9 spots. I never thought I'd see this happening. Number 11, Georgia. My God, oof.
I mean, I get they're getting punished this week. And so,
though, the big drop, is that deserved? That big drop?
They're giving them room to climb back in. They're punishing Georgia for playing up and down to the level of their opponent, and I think that's appropriate. I'm not mad at Georgia at 11.
All right, top 10. Here we go. Number 10, up 6 spots after a slow start. Ole Miss.
I like what they're doing there. Hey, listen, guys, you've looked like a playoff team for most of the year. Do your job, you'll make the tourney. And we'd rather you than a lot of these other ACC bums, so don't blow it. That's basically what it's coming down to, right?
Fair point. Up 2 spots, number 9, Alabama.
Wait a minute. You just told me Alabama wasn't a quality loss. What the fuck are we doing here that a top 10 team is a loss that looks bad? Earnest Christian?
No, I'm saying they look bad in the loss. That's what I meant to say.
No, answer the question.
That's what I meant, though. I can't answer the question that I didn't even mean what you were trying to say. I said that they look bad in that loss to Alabama.
No, you said that loss looked bad, sir.
They look bad in that loss. I mean,
so as the host of a podcast, you're bad at semantics.
Correct. Correct. Yes. All right, number 8, up 2 spots.
By the way, now that you've changed your statement, I agree with it.
Right.
In the latest edition of What the Fuck Are We Doing Here?
Too high, right?
I mean,
just be behind both Alabama and Ole Miss, my opinion. But
I don't understand how this team's a top 10 team on the strength of beating the only ranked. Oh no, I guess Louisville was ranked at the time when they shouldn't have been, and they damn near lost that game. I'm gonna
do the same thing that I said about Miami like the last couple of weeks. Is Notre Dame number 8? Yes. Are they a top 8 team in college football? Fuck no.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
I'm just saying I would take right now Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia over them right now, and I would say even Boise's a conversation.
Okay, I'm going to give you a magic number, and I want you to guess what I'm referring to. 1, 2, 3, 4. What does that number refer to, EJ Christian?
Top 4?
Nope.
What is it?
The number of G5 teams on Notre Dame's schedule.
Really?
What the fuck are we doing here? And I know I'm going to catch hell for this, but I'm sorry. The facts of the case are these. Now, I will grant they haven't played Army yet as the 4th team, so that doesn't factor in. And Army is currently ranked. Whether they should be or not is a separate question. They're undefeated. That's the only reason they are. They're leaving it on the table for if Army runs the table, including beating Notre Dame, that they're ranked and can fight their way into maybe battling Boise State for a playoff spot. Okay? That's why they did it. Has nothing to do with the performance on the field. It's all motherfucking politics that Army is 16, right?
Right. All right, number 7.
Notre Dame with a G5 loss, damn near losing to a sorry Louisville team. Again, the only thing you have is, well, golly jeepers, in week 1, we beat Texas A&M, who was favored when they shouldn't have been. Okay, great. So Vegas sucking at their job is your defense, right? Now, smarter fans will say, well, they beat Georgia Tech in dominant fashion, who just beat Miami. Maybe that's your best argument. But again, Notre Dame fans, I warn you, with your schedule looking awful as it is, which no one expected USC to be this bad, that part isn't their fault. But when your schedule features Virginia, a ranked G5, and USC, it's not strong. The chances of them falling out of the playoff because their schedule is ass exists. It probably won't happen because this committee is clearly bad at ranking, which we're about to see as we head up further a bit. But yeah, this is absolutely ass. This is not a playoff resume that Notre Dame has. Sorry.
Right. All right. Up 2 spots. Number 7, BYU.
And by the way, that's me criticizing Notre Dame's schedule, not the program, before anybody pulls that bullshit. BYU, I think this is another team that's living on being undefeated more than here's the thing though, they've looked better in some of these games. The Big 12 is such a goddamn strange thing to evaluate because you have to do your own evaluation because there's so much ACC bias out there that's hiding some of the Big 12 prowess, right? Yeah. People are telling me that Arizona State is a competitor for the Big 12 championship. They're nowhere near the top 25, yet I'm hearing conversations about SMU. What the fuck are we doing here? Anyways.
All right. Number 6, up 1 spot, Tennessee.
I mean, Tennessee at 6 is kind of where we sat that they should be on or around that point until they lose a football game, right?
Well, here's the thing, too. The big game against Georgia this week.
Actually, if they lose to Georgia, that's only 2 losses, right?
Yeah, but big game for Georgia, though, because Georgia loses that game, they might be.
Yeah, that's a great point by you. Georgia needs that more than Tennessee does. That's a good point.
Absolutely. Although I can see the argument, the committee trying to shoehorn a 3-loss Georgia team if things shake out. Just saying. All right.
I mean, they belong in the playoff better than some other teams that we
Agreed.
No, I don't necessarily mean Notre Dame fans.
Right. All right. Up. Oh my God. Up 3 spots. Number 5. Indiana. 10-0.
This is fucking fraud. This is fraud of the highest order. And what this actually does is exposes and opens up the argument that the Big Ten might be worse than the ACC this year.
I won't go that far. I won't go that far.
I said it opens up the argument.
So, okay, let's have a conversation about it quick. What would it take for you to respect Indiana?
Play somebody.
Well, we'll know in 2 weeks. Ohio State.
Wait. So your answer is Ohio State, a team, by the way, which all I hear about them is they're not as good as advertised. Then somebody immediately afterwards says Oregon beat them, quack, quack, motherfuckers, right?
I'm gonna tell you, brother. Everybody has flawed, I guess. But I mean, look, if they beat Ohio State in 2 weeks at Ohio State, especially too, do you give them respect?
No.
Then what are we doing here? I mean, seriously.
That's my question. What are we doing here? Now, granted, and again, it's too much weight being put into a team that's undefeated, beating up a bunch of 8th graders. Enjoy your first round exit, bitch.
Yeah, probably. All right, number 4, up 2 spots, Penn State.
Speaking of enjoy your first round exit, bitch. I suppose you have to kind of put them here by default if you're going to, put in your Big Ten bias. This is a TV contract ranking. At least with Indiana, you could say they're undefeated. And the moment that changes, so too with their ranking, I would argue that they'll get dropped out of the top 12 once that happens. When that happens.
Yeah.
Penn State, they're doing what they can to keep them in there is what it feels like.
And they'll get in most likely the way it's going.
Well, and see, that's the part that gets tricky, EJ Christian. Let me float this conspiracy theory at you, right? So we're looking at Penn State. Their schedule is not great, Bob, right? They're not going to lose to Purdue, the Golden Gophers, or Maryland, right? We're pretty confident with that.
Are we? Because it'd be such a Penn State thing to do to lose the game on the back end of the schedule.
Okay, fine. They've already lost to Ohio State, so that ship sailed, which means their next best win is what? Wisconsin or Illinois? Two overrated ass teams?
Yeah, some Wisconsin. All right.
So, no, I don't think this is a top 5 team. This is a garbage placement. This is a TV placement.
Mm-hmm. All right, number 3. Up 2 spots, Texas.
And rightly so.
Yeah. Number up 1 spot. Number 2, Ohio State.
Pure technicality. These 2 teams are 1 and 2 because they play in a sorry-ass conference, have faced no real opposition, and have nearly lost to Boise State, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Exactly. And Boise should be higher than a couple teams in that ranking. And number 1, of course.
Listen, if they were undefeated, we all know that Texas would be number 1, right?
Of course. No question.
So
number 1, of course, Oregon.
No, not of course. Fraudulently, Oregon.
Well,
enjoy your first round exit, bitch. Oh wait.
Oh wow.
Enjoy your first playoff game exit.
Ooh, is that a hot take?
Is it? You tell me.
A couple news and notes real quick. Florida Gators announced Billy Napier will return to the team next year. Thoughts?
Okay, and this is listen. This is the same reason a lot of coaches are going to be kept around. It has nothing to do with on the field performance, though. In Norvell's case, he's done some interesting things with a team that was struggling early on. You and I both said that Napier was going to play a hell of a time keeping his job with this nasty ass schedule. We've said that from moment 1 here on this podcast, I believe, right?
You did. Yes, right.
And I believe Napier's buyout is in the 20-something million range. I know I could have that completely wrong, but the point is, it ain't cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. Let me put it to you this way: is Billy Napier that bad that you're willing to forego money to put towards players to get him out of the building?
I don't think he is. And then number 2, I think he's done a good job than people give credit for based on that schedule and how.
By the way, the part we haven't added yet, though, EJ Christian, is then after you buy out Billy Napier, you have to pay money to the next guy.
Yeah. And he ain't coming cheap. You're not just getting any guy. It's the Gators. You want to get someone.
You're fucking nut.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not saying they ain't got it. I'm just saying it's fiscally irresponsible. And if you're running it like a business.
But what I will say, though, is that I think Billy Napier, though, he's actually earned the right to turn around next year because he's been done the third quarterback now, number 1. Number 2, with that schedule we acknowledged when the year started was going to be tough. They've been very competitive. Very competitive in some of those losses. Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, all competitive games. Gotta give him credit for that. So I think Napier's done a good job.
He's getting credit for that. Yeah. I mean, you
mentioned the right move.
By the way, you mentioned 3 ranked teams in the SEC, right?
Right, there you go. So, I mean, now next year, if they don't get at least 6 wins, then he's done. All right.
Regardless of the schedule.
Right. Regardless of the schedule. Right. Correct. All right. Finally, also to Mike Norvell fires the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Is there a case you made for Norvell to lose his job? I mean, I don't think, Kyle, I don't think I've ever seen a college team of this ilk go 13-0 one year on the doorstep of the playoff, this is on the technicality, and then go 1-9 for next year. That's some really fucked up shit. It's a massive swing, Kyle.
So for one, what it actually is proof that when Jordan Travis got hurt, that FSU should not have been admitted. Right? Because part of the reason all that went that bad for FSU this year is he and others were missing.
Well, a lot of others. They lost like 15 guys, I think, to the play.
And just a lot of talent. Keon Coleman.
Coleman, right.
A few that hit me off the top of the head, right?
Yeah.
This problem is something you're going to see happen more and more in college football because of NIL on the transfer portal.
Correct.
Excuse me. You're here shitting on Mike Norvell. Meanwhile, you're avoiding the conversation. That
I'm not doing
it. Hold on. You aren't personally, right?
Okay.
The media at large is shitting on Norvell. You know what isn't being talked about enough because of haters like our good friend Big Jim Neese of Huddle Up and my good friend Jeff Sharon of the Black and Gold Banneret, who are Colorado haters just cause? Yeah, I'll bell it. Fuck it, right? Colorado had one win before prime time arrived. And now they're competing for a conference championship. Matter of fact, based on the events of the past weekend, Colorado is currently, if it were played today, in the Big 12 championship with BYU. Can you tell me a world where you take a one-win team and 2 years later make them a conference champion?
And possibly a playoff team. Possibly.
I don't even want to enter that into it yet. Because if you're a conference champion, you're automatically a playoff.
Right. That's right. That's true.
And again, I'm making the assumptions that he does all that. That's all a non-zero chance right now. And the answer to that is, yeah, you've seen that in the G5 with UCF going all defeated to undefeated in 2 seasons. But that's the G5. The physics are different. The recruiting's different. All of that's different. What else is different now? NIL and the transfer portal. And because you have that, the pendulum swings for the good and for the bad. The portal giveth and it taketh away.
So true.
So
true.
The answer to your question is no, you don't fire Mark Norvell if you're Mike Norvell.
Smart.
If you realize that this is the landscape of college football such that it is today. And until some guardrails are going to put on it, you're going to see some wildly swinging programs out there. But then what do I know? I'm just a student of the game.
And the student game, plug away.
Of course, I'm, as mentioned, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writings with the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF basketball and football, of course. Though I won't be writing the next 2 games because Jake Ferraro will be in position and then I will be in Nolans for Black Friday. I believe it'll probably be Donnie Docks, Don Struble that'll write that game, but I'm still writing men's and women's basketball for the Black and Gold Banneret, so check that out. Not to mention the Night Shift Live, instant reaction to UCF football and some key basketball games as well. Plus, check out my work with Fans First Sports Network, writing about the Orlando Magic and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, the Duval Dive, Wednesday night, 7:30. The Student of the Game, 9 p.m. Eastern, which you might be watching this as that for our simulcast this week, mostly because I'm covering the Orlando Magic for Fans First, right? And then, of course, the Duval Dive live following this weekend's game for the Jaguars with my friend Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country. So, a long one this week, EJ Christian.
Was it? An hour. Usual an hour.
Closer to an hour and a half. I could, you know what? Do me a favor.
Well, don't forget, I also did 50 minutes for 20 minutes of the intro.
That's fair. Let's do this. Since we're simulcasting this, you're forced and compelled to do one thing with me. And you don't have music on your soundboard, but that is what it is. But you need to do picks with me for the NFL this week. Are you down?
Right now?
Right now.
All right.
Let's go.
This is a bonus. This is some bonus stuff here for the listeners.
Game report, but it's on task for the Student of the Game podcast. Anyways,
okay. This is okay. Now for the record, guys, for people listening to the podcast who will listen to the Thursday episode, this does not count for my best bets with Zach that I'll do tomorrow.
He reserves the right to change his mind, is what he's trying to say.
No, because those are actually gambling.
Yeah, we don't do spreads here. Okay,
go ahead.
The power vacuum game. The Washington Commanders head over to Philadelphia to do battle with the Eagles. Ernest Christian, who you got?
Eagles. Until I'm proven otherwise, give me Eagles.
Now, I know everybody who's heard me talk about the Red Tails will think I'm going to pick them. The answer is no, I won't. Not after playing the Steelers. That is a tough team and a tough football game. I on a Thursday, listen, maybe on a Sunday, I'd give them a fighting chance. 4 days after playing the Steelers, you're battling the Eagles. Give me the Eagles on this one and keep it at the under for Thursday night. The Green Bay Packers head over to the Midway there in Chicago to battle the Bears. Listen, 10 green toes, there's no way you're not picking the Pack here, right?
Or alpha bye week 2 on top of that? Come on now. What are you doing
there
here?
You go. Yeah, absolutely. The Packers are the answer here. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars head over to Detroit to do yeah, okay, it's the line. Let's move on. The Minnesota Vikings. Okay, you know what? It's the Vikings too. We're not picking the
Oh, yeah, I got music for you there.
No, I caught that. You heard me say, oh, yeah, right? By the way, make sure you check out the instant reaction on the Duval Dive live after Jacksonville and Detroit. All right, so the Las Vegas Raiders do battle with your Miami Dolphins. EJ Christian, who you got?
The Dolphins, Tua's playing well. Well, rough game last night against the Rams, though. I thought it'd be a high-scoring game. I was daily wrong about that one. But Dolphins are starting to play a little better with Tua under center now. So give me Dolphins here.
Hey, they won the sumbitch on Monday, didn't they?
Yes, they did. That's all that matters.
Give me the Fins as well. The LA Rams do battle with the New England Patriots. EJ Christian, who you got?
I'll take the Rams. Although I will say Drake May has been playing much better. A little spark in the Patriots a little bit. Still not scoring a lot of points, though. But give the Rams, Stafford, a company need win this game. Stay alive in the NFC wild card and even division physics, of course.
I appreciate you dodging your homerism and picking the Patriots. It's the correct.
Calm down.
You have the Cleveland. Oh, this is a garbage game. The Cleveland Browns head over to New Orleans to do battle with the Saints. EJ Christian.
Who's again? The Saints and who?
The Browns. Way to pay attention on your own show. Good job.
Well, this is your show right now at this point. No, give me you know what? Browns off a bye.
Browns off a bye. I'm not that brave. I too have the New Orleans. No, I should say I too. I have the New Orleans Saints at home, buddy. Anyways, the Colts do battle with the New York Jets.
You know, at some point they're gonna win a game, right? The Jets, they're gonna have to win a game at some point.
You could say the same about.
They're gonna have to win at some point. The Colts are so up and down, and now Flacco's playing bad football now. Remember people saying, "Oh, Joe Flacco should be starting quarterback." And look, I got it at the time. But you know what? I think it might be time to bring back Air over 15 in the game into the lineup. But that being said, give me the Jets to finally get a win because they need one bad.
This game is going to be scary close. They're favoring the Jets. If you wanted to take the Colts with the points, I wouldn't blame you, but I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to take, I was about to say Favre again, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. The Ravens head over to do battle with the Steelers in the NFL's best rivalry. I
was just going to say that this is your game. Honestly, probably the hardest game to pick.
Dude, it's not just a clever nickname. I'm just saying.
You know, if Russell Wilson can attack that secondary, which is the weakest part of the Ravens team right now, Steelers win this game. You know what? Give me Steelers here. Give me Steelers here.
I don't hate it. They also happen to be playing at the former Heinz Field. That's a fact.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Give me. Man, this is hard. I see these two teams splitting, but I see them both winning on the road. It makes no goddamn sense, except if it's this rivalry, right? For me, you know what? I'll pick the Steelers to do it. The Atlanta Falcons head over to battle and try to head over to Denver and try to mix Bo and Denver Broncos. Who you got?
Well, solely because I want my Bengals prediction has to hold up. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons here.
This game doesn't affect that, actually.
Well, it does. It depends Denver.
Right, but we went over this, man. Just because if they both win this game, the Bengals are still in contention.
I still think Atlanta needs a bounce back game, and I think it's the spot they do it in. Give me Atlanta.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm inclined to pick Atlanta. I got you. Okay. The Seattle Seahawks battle the San Francisco 49ers.
Come on now. McCaffrey's back. I mean, I know a little bit of infighting there with Debo and getting involved with the whole place over
being made of that.
But that being said, San Fran's on the way back now. Like I said, this is a team I trust the most in the NFC. Give me the Niners here. Seattle, as I said, since week 4, 1-3-0, a bunch of frauds. The proven right. The Seahawks last place. Give me the Niners.
Vegas seems to agree with you at -6.5, by the way.
And they covered that too, also for the record.
Wow, EJ going full Niners.
Won that later Thursday.
Homer. Wait, now I'm confused. Give me the Niners. The Kansas City Chiefs, what might be their toughest game so far, that's not the Ravens, head over to the former Ralph Wilson Stadium to battle the Buffalo Bills. EJ.
Yeah, the Chiefs will lose a game this year. And I think the unbeaten season happens here. If they win this game, though, them going unbeaten is in play. Because their schedule gets really easy. Other than one Chargers game left in there, their schedule really lightens up the rest of the year. And that Chargers game is also in KC, for the record. So if KC loses this game to Buffalo, 17-0 in play. That being said, it ends this week. Give me Buffalo.
You know, what I find fascinating is this might be the worst matchup for KC, right? Considering Buffalo's defense being capable of what it does. If the Chiefs' defense also does what it tends to do, this is going to be a matter of who screws up less. Now, that automatically dictates that I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I'm not doing it. Not the Bill. Might be dumb.
Yeah.
The Bengals head over to battle EJ's Los Angeles Rams. Who you got?
This is actually one of the most underrated games of the weekend, honestly. I mean, Bengals need his win to stay alive.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of offensive football, a lot of passing. It's going to be a fun game.
You think so? You think Herbert is unleashed this week?
I do.
Okay. That being said, because
I said the Rams. I meant the Chargers. My bad.
Yeah, because the Chargers are a more balanced team now with Jim Harbaugh. And like I said, the culture change is real. It's real. That being said, Bengals need his win. I think Burrow and company get the job done. Give me the Bengals in a very, very close game.
I got the Chargers. I just think that they can do more to harass Joey Burr. And not that he's going to make a lot of mistakes, but it's just going to be about him scoring a field goal one time when he should have had a touchdown. And I think that's enough for the Chargers to take charge.
Then if they win this game, we're talking about like maybe Jim Harbaugh, sneaky coach of the year candidate.
We've been talking about that since moment one. I mean,
there you go.
The Texans do battle with the Cowboys. Boy, this is a good game to end on. I know the Texans are undisciplined, but I don't see that happening, especially with Dak going under the knife. I don't know. Do you got riptide rust there, EJ Christian?
No, the Cowboys will now quit. They're done. They're officially done. The Micah Parsons comments said only once you hear that, that's where you know where this team's at now mentally. The Texans, look, the game should have won. They should have won that game against Detroit on Sunday Night Football, and they almost did. They're a good team, not a great team. They're definitely a tier 2 team, but they'll find a way to win this game in Dallas. Give me Houston to win this game.
And that'll do it for us picking the games. EJ Christian, great job.
Yeah,
providing the music on the fly as I attempt to stall while you stop it. There you go. So, hey, listen, I already did my outro. Thank you for indulging the picks. So we have that here as part of the game. I know what you're thinking, Kyle. But Kyle, we cursed on your show. Listen, I'm going to just send the Duval Dive audio this week to A7BN Sports, and it'll be fine. So we'll leave it in.
Yeah, for folks on the Earnestly podcast, this is actually he'll be simulcasting this segment of the show on his platform. So
platforms. This includes, of course, the Huddle Up YouTube channel as well as social media. So there you go.
Absolutely. So good job.
Yeah, I'm still trying to explore that whole podcast option. That's a whole other question.
Yeah,
but you know what? Good job by you, EJ.
Thank you.
Great work. But an honor, joy, and privilege to do the show with you. And until next time, EJ Christian, class dismissed.
All right. Thank you to Kyle, as always, Kyle Nash, doing the game, calling the podcast. I want to leave this show on this note, and this is going to be my very final analysis on the election from last week. I mean, it's been a week already. Oh my God, it's been a week since the I can't say shocking because I told you guys Trump had a good chance to win this election. But it's more so I think very shocked at the result, at the numbers, the fact that not only he won the House, the Senate, the White House, but also winning the popular vote by a very decent margin. When it's all said and done, he'll won it between 3 and 5 million votes. Still counting the votes in right now. I think last I checked, Kamala had, he had 74.9, I think it was, 75 million, close to, and she had 71 million. So Nate Silver said the projected number, estimate number, when it's all said and done, is that he'll have 78 million votes and she'll have 75 million votes. Which, by the way, some of you crazy ass right wingers on the side trying to talk about so where did 10 million votes come from? Or 20 million votes, less than Biden had. No, when it's all said and done, it's gonna be a lot closer margin than people get credit for. This will be the second most, if I'm not mistaken, the second most voted for election in history of this country, I believe. So that kills that rhetoric of the 2020 election was stolen and that Biden cheated. Okay, because the fact of the matter is, we have more people now voting into the portal now than we have in a long time. So there's a lot of reasons, a lot of factors. People are going to say, well, why didn't she match Biden's 81 million? Because as I said, a lot of people stayed home because of a lot of issues, because of Gaza, because of like the candidates, none of that stuff. But clearly, the gap between 60 million people saying it was a $20 million gap or 50 million vote gap. No, when it's all said and done, it's only going to end up being about 3 to 5 million less than Biden, and even that, and that actually plays in my conversation, in my theory of Gaza being a massive issue is why people stayed home. So, and also not they don't like the candidate or like the party. So, but I want to play some of the reactions too, also in just a second, about from left wing media that's really pissed me off last week or so. But I want to address something here with you guys on the podcast before I get going, because I've been getting a lot of criticism from people on the left. Some people obviously on social media, some people in my own life, friends of mine, some family also too, that accuse me of being a right winger because I platform and I continue to platform and have discussions and guests on this podcast with people who are on the right side of the aisle, whether it be MAGA or conservatives in general. And I understand why it bothers you, because I know there's a sensitivity now, especially in 2024, with a lot of like, whether or not you're a commentator or a politician or just a regular Joe or Jane, for that matter. Shout out to the ladies out there, of course. And there's a sensitivity of people leaving one side of the aisle to the other for whatever reason. A lot of it's for grifting purposes, whatever it may be. Some of it just because of ideals change, who knows, or just they feel more welcome by that side. I've been critical of some people publicly who've done this, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., although I would argue their gripe is actually a little more acceptable to me because of the fact that they have issues with the party itself, with the Democratic Party, in which they got screwed, which I agree with. They got screwed by the party. But my criticism for them leaving was more so the ideals. The ideals changed too also with it. But that's neither here nor there. But I got some criticism from people recently, for a while now, but even recently, having conservative guests. The last 2 weeks I've had on two very good guests on the show. I have Dean Simpson, who's a constitutional conservative. And he had Tori Spears, who's been on the show multiple times now for the last couple of years, another conservative. And people all of a sudden accusing me of being MAGA because we have a discussion and we may agree on some things, disagree on some things. So I want to clear the air on that right now, just so folks will understand what's going on. Number one, I don't have to tell you who I voted for. No one's entitled to know who the fuck I voted for. Let's be clear about that right now. Okay? Now, for transparency purposes, I'm going to tell you right now, I did not vote for Donald Trump. Okay? I have never voted for Donald Trump in any of these elections in 2016, in 2020, in 2024. I, in fact, did vote for Kamala Harris in the election. I don't have to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that for transparency's sake. Because people, when I say that, people don't believe me. Okay, I didn't have it on my phone, but of course it's illegal to show it publicly because if you do that, But I vote Kamala Harris. Now, that said, I do and always have criticisms for Kamala Harris and her campaign. I did say she ran a good campaign, not bad, a good one, a B+. Okay, there were some flaws, of course, but when you consider the short notice that this came about in 3 month span, a little over 3 months, you gotta give some credit there. But there's some criticism, and I think the problem is people say that I don't push back enough on conservatives that I platform my show, which again I disagree with to some degree. I'm not yelling at people. We're having a conversation about things. I want to know the perspective, and vice versa. They want to know mine. So I don't agree with that assessment. Okay, but let me tell you something right now. This is my goddamn show. All right, I can platform who the fuck I want. Okay, let's be clear about that. Okay, I will platform who I want my show. Now, doesn't mean I'm going to platform people who are racist. That's not my bag. I need people of character first off, but I will always talk to people who I believe are good, intentional people, whether or not they are Republican, conservative, liberal, Democrat. centrist, doesn't matter. I will platform whoever I goddamn please. Okay? I ain't changing. I am this person. I've always been this person, and I will always be this person moving forward. Okay? This is who I am. I love people. I want to know how people think, especially people who think differently from me. And I'm not even saying I'm a leftist. I'm not. I'm a center left guy. I actually come from a Republican conservative background. I used to be a conservative. I used to be I used to be Republican until 2008. Okay, and I explained this podcast many times. What happened? How my political journey changed through the years. I still consider myself mostly a fiscal conservative, but a social liberal. Okay, so, but I'm always fascinated at what people think and why they vote the way they vote. Okay, and I don't have to please anybody else here or no one's entitled to know who I voted for and why I had a certain guest on. I do because I want to do it, and that's it. And I'm not going to change anybody. Some folks don't like it, and that's your bag too. For me, I like having conversations. I love people. I love people more than I love the politics. It's that simple. So, to the folks that sit here and want to criticize me about who I platform and whatnot, you can kick rocks. Right? You can kick rocks. Because I'm not going to change you. I'm not going to change my values so you feel comfortable. Will never happen. Oh, it will never happen. All right? So that's that. I respectfully disagree with your assessments on how I operate and how I who I talk to. Okay? And by the way, you're wrong. It's your opinion. You're right to your opinion, but you'd be wrong. All right? So there's that. That being said, I want to play a couple clips because some of the assessments coming out of the Democrat Party, and I think people are mad at me also too for how I feel about this stuff because I'm always critical of the left, probably more than the right. But the reason why I'm always that way, critical of the left, probably a little sort of, at least it feels that way, is because I vote that way most of the time. Okay? So if the left, the Democrats are the guardrails of what I believe. If I believe the right wing will not run the country in the way I perceive to want it to be, so I'm going to be critical of the left as a result because if I see y'all fucking up, I'm calling it out. It's just that simple. I'm calling it out. And so the loss, Kamala Harris's loss last week should have sent shockwaves. Like 2016 was a shock. But the one thing Democrats had in their bag was this. Oh, we lost to Donald Trump. But you know what? Hillary Clinton still had the popular vote. So therefore, you know what? We still have the majority of the country. And therefore, you know what? Status quo will be fine going down the road. Maybe Hillary ran a bad campaign, blah, 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 blah. Cool. And then you get the reset in 2020. Okay? COVID happens. Trump fucks up in COVID because not because Trump is not blamed for COVID, but the handling of COVID is where he lost the election. I still say to this day, if COVID doesn't happen, Donald Trump gets reelected in 2020. Okay? And we're probably out of the Trump era by January of this year. But you get the reset. Joe Biden wins. Okay? Joe Biden wins the election in 2020. Donald Trump is now a pariah. Persona non grata. January 6th happens, and the election denialism, and then of course all the legal shit. He's a pariah. His political career is dead, right? No, Democrats, for whatever reason, and for the record, I don't think Democrats did as bad as they thought, as I thought. People say rather. I thought Joe Biden, by the metrics, did decent. By the metrics, of course, we use to determine that. But the reality is, the electorate did not feel it. The electorate did not feel the good economy. Gas prices still high. Food's too high. Groceries too high. Everything's high across the board. So people who are not online like I am, who doesn't follow politics like I do, or like people who listen to podcasts, when normies, I call them, when they see that, they attach it to who's leader at that time, and it's Joe Biden. The Democratic Party has a lot of explaining to do has a lot of soul searching to do. Because now when you lose an election this last week, the way you did, it wasn't just that you lost the House, the Senate. Well, the House was gone 2 years ago, but the Senate, the White House, and of course now the popular vote. You would think that will give you some self-reflection. Unfortunately, some of the things behind here, some of the reactions of people and media has been very disappointing. Say for instance, Sonny Hostin of The View. People say, "Oh, you watch The View?" Yeah, I do. Let's listen to the conversation about these things. Her reaction to all this post-election makes you think that she does not learn a lesson from what happened here. So here's her reaction to what happened after the loss. Kamala Harris lost Donald Trump. Here's her reaction.
So do you think Bernie was right about this, that they didn't pay attention enough to the working class?
He's absolutely right, but his solutions are wrong. Kamala Harris outperformed him in Vermont. The lesson Democrats should take is not we didn't run far enough to the left. They lost rural voters. They lost working class voters. And listen, I was someone who I'm recognizing, reflecting on this election. I had the privilege of saying I'm voting on democracy because I'm a high income earner. If your check engine light is on and you've got bills piling up on the table, you're not thinking about democracy. You're not thinking about the war in Ukraine. You're thinking about how will my life be better tomorrow? And the reality is this, we all sat around kind of wondering who is the swing voter that will decide this election? And a lot of folks thought it was women and abortion. No, it turns out it was people in the suburbs who are like, I can't stand Donald Trump's personality. I don't like how he talks, but my life was better off economically when he was president. And I'm struck by this.
But that's the middle class.
By the way, that's Alyssa Farah. She's actually, if you don't know, she was part of Trump's administration in 2020. Okay, left the administration at January 6th. Actually endorsed Kamala Harris last week, the day before the election, the day of the election, rather. She voted R down ballot apparently, but she endorsed Kamala Harris as a result. And you know, she's dead on. She's dead on here. She's dead on the reason why. And what happened? The reason why all this happened.
We're talking about the working.
I'm talking broadly.
Yeah.
He was not just the working class that he won. He also got the largest share of young voters for Republicans since 2008. That was the height of the financial crisis. Young voters, maybe they care about Gaza, maybe they care about student loans, but to be honest, 2/3 of this country doesn't even get to go to college. They were thinking, am I going to have a job? Am I going to be able to afford the life that I want? And finally, suburban women, sure, they definitely care about abortion. They also care that they're paying to send their kids to college and their graduations are being canceled because there's protests everywhere and because people are out in the streets demonstrating over a war somewhere else rather than just being able to educate their kids. There is so much room for self-reflection from the Democrats, and I hope they have it. Every time Joe Biden bragged about how good the economy is, another vote of someone struggling went to Donald Trump.
All right.
You think what she said there would be, hey, that's common sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That should be, that should be what, some reflection, the whole nine, and explain where the Democratic Party went wrong and the disconnect.
Anybody else?
I disagree.
All right.
And Sonny.
I think that I'd like to reframe the conversation. I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America?
By the way, they mentioned Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders actually was critical himself of the Democratic Party, saying that basically the Democratic Party has now lost the working class. So for the record.
I think what is wrong with our country, that the Republican Party would choose as a candidate and support a candidate who is an insurrectionist, who is an election denier, who is someone who was twice impeached, a 34-time convicted felon.
All things true. But at the same time, you need to accept that in spite of all those things that are true, the will of the people wanted Donald Trump anyway.
Who has been accused of alleged sexual misconduct by 26 women found liable for sexual abuse. What is wrong with this country that they would choose a message of divisiveness, of xenophobia, of racism, of misogyny over a message of inclusiveness, a message for the people, by the people, of the people?
Simple. Very simple. Again, if you learn to listen to people instead of talking out of your New York bubble, if you learn to listen, again, and for the record, I agree with you. I vote for Kamala Harris for those same reasons. But I'm one vote. You're one vote. Okay? The electorate spoke. Donald Trump will have about 78 million people who have voted from this election. So you ask the question, why would they do that? Because, again, gas prices high. Groceries high. Whether or not it's Joe Biden's fault or not, okay, it doesn't matter. That's why.
Not
That's
just
what the problem is.
Republicans.
It's
He
the
won the
Republican
popular vote.
Party.
But can
and
I,
what's
can
wrong
I
with
say
America?
something before we can do a second? The Democrats are the ones. They are the party that cares for the blue collar
Exactly.
voter. The Democrats are the ones who put in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, union protection,
ACA.
unemployment insurance, and Obamacare. The Republican
All
Party
true.
doesn't give a rat's patootie
Well,
about
clearly
it.
they didn't
Come
convince the
on.
voters.
But the problem is you didn't convince the voters enough. And the Democrat Party have done a lot of things, and especially in the last like 8 to 12 years, kneecapping Bernie Sanders 2016. Okay, summing up a lot of voters. People say the black vote, is going the other way. Why? You need to figure it out. Messaging, something's not right there. The messaging's wrong there. Are you catering more to the elite, more to the corporate donors? That seems to be the vibe.
So all I can deduce is that it's the messaging. It didn't get through to people. They're not paying attention. That's all.
Yeah,
because the Democrats have always been for the working people.
Exactly. And the Republicans
As long
don't
as
care
I'm on
about
this
it.
I think
planet,
the
economy's gonna
message of the
crash under
Democrats
Trump.
sounded elitist. You don't have value in society.
Bingo.
It sounded that way, but when you look at the proof,
yeah,
they weren't.
but Joy,
no
it's
one is saying
condescending.
that
It's
on the Democrat
condescending.
side.
There is
What's condescending?
the way that the left speaks to its voters. It really is.
A message of joy.
By the way, Sarah here in the blue, my favorite one on the entire panel, because she is common sense, very common sense. She gets Sonny big on this one.
And inclusiveness.
No, the message of not being
What's wrong
educated,
with
being
America?
dumb, and what's wrong with America.
Who said that?
Sonny just did.
What is wrong with
Joy,
America?
my point here is that
very
that's not what Kamala Harris said.
No.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
my point is, I don't blame Joe Biden. I don't blame Kamala Harris. Go back as far as you want. I blame a messaging within the Democratic Party.
You don't blame the Republican
Can I just
Party at
finish
all?
my point, please? I obviously have a problem. Anyone has a problem with Donald Trump. The bigger question should be, yes, Sonny, why did they vote for him?
Yes.
In
So they need
sweeping,
to be introspective.
no, we need to be introspective.
There
If
we
you
go.
voted for
Bingo.
Kamala Harris,
Bingo. She put on her. They didn't even respect her. No. See, Sonny, that's the problem. And that rhetoric is why people got off their asses to vote for Donald Trump. Because that attitude, we, the Democratic Party, whatever, needs to be introspective about things. Sarah, nail it in the head.
we need to say what didn't resonate with the voters. You know what didn't resonate with the voters? When they were saying we don't feel safe and the left focused on defund the police and bail reform.
Yeah.
When they said we're worrying
they
about,
also
can I just
focused on
finish?
gun control.
Let me just finish real quickly. When they were focused on
It's only
renaming,
an hour show, ladies.
Joy, when they were focused on renaming schools, there were people saying, hey, students are destroying colleges. I paid for that. I sent them there. They can't learn. And everyone apologized for it and didn't want to attend to it. They also denied the border was a crisis and kept saying, no, it's fine. This is not a.
There was a border bill, though. There was a border bill.
Yes, but
3
Joy, my
years of
point
the
is they
Biden
screamed and
administration.
screamed and screamed. They didn't vote for him because he's a racist or a misogynist. They voted because they needed help in their everyday lives.
But Sarah,
They
they
make
voted- they
the majority of
How
this
do you know
country,
that?
because
There's a lot of-
every stat coming out on the people
Yeah.
willing to self-reflect are showing these.
Oh, wait, they're going to say I'm a racist and misogynist in the exit poll?
Joy,
I don't
really think
so.
74 million
Joy,
people are racist.
Who's gonna say that?
Every racist and misogynist voted for Donald Trump. Not everyone that voted for Donald Trump was a racist and misogynist.
I agree with that.
Everyone swept. They
That's right.
swept every category. And the reason they did is to say, hey, guys, no excuses this time.
Yeah.
Look,
They lost everything.
There's still half
country
the
that
country that
allows
doesn't agree
To
with
me,
it.
it's lazy, in my opinion, to pin all this. First off, pin the reason why she lost on, put it on the fact that she is a woman, a black woman, in fact. Now, is there misogyny involved in that? Absolutely, there is. Not question. But to me, it's lazy. What you're doing there when you do that is you're letting the Democratic Party off the hook. Okay, listen to this here. Joel Scarborough, on MSNBC, and mostly I think it's his wife, Mina. Here's their take on this. And again, they missed the mark here. So missed the mark here on why they lost.
About Kamala Harris, the vice president, because she really put herself out there over the past few months at great risk and peril to herself and her family. She was thrown into the deep end of the pool politically and hit all her marks and then some, and showed up for America.
This really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
Flawless? No. And again, that's Joanne Reed. Not a flawless campaign. Good campaign, not flawless. Good based on the fact it was only 3 months, not flawless. And again, you guys don't get it. And you know what? If you keep having this attitude, you're never going to get it. Okay? You're never going to get it. No, I'm just joking. Seriously. You're never going to get it because you live in a bubble. You don't understand what people's needs are. Okay? And I like to think that what happened last week is hopefully for the sake of the party, the introspection, looking inward. But unfortunately, based on everything we're hearing so far, from Nancy Pelosi, from some of the left wing commentators like Joanne Reed and Sonny Hostin, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. And unfortunately for them, if it happens, they may not win an election for a long time. I like to think that at this point, given the fact that Donald Trump, twice impeached felon, can still win the White House twice, I would hope that would create some introspection now, or a self-reflection into why. Because I'm gonna put this on Kamala Harris. First off, this is a referendum on Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, without question. Okay, Joe Biden should have had run for the election. I said as far back as 2 years ago on this podcast, right after the midterms, that even though the red wave didn't happen, what did I say on that podcast? That my fear was because the Democrats did better than we thought in the midterms in 2022, that Joe Biden will feel like he's still viable to be the head of the ticket in 2024. And I said that was a mistake. And I remember saying that 2 years ago. That was a mistake. And look what happened. Joe Biden gets out of the paint early, well, not late, much later. Joe Biden's debate performance in June forces him out of the race, and the only reason he's out of the race because donors cut the money off. It was because he did the right thing. If donors were still donating money to the campaign, believe me, he'll stay in the race. And for the record, there's now data coming in now. There's internal data from the Democrats, I know it was Kamala's, Joe Biden staffers, that are saying that had Joe stayed in the race, this race is not even close. Joe gets crushed. They're saying that Trump may have had 400 plus electoral votes if Joe Biden stayed in the race. So again, the Democrats continue to shoot themselves in the foot. And then you wonder why I'm always hard on Democrats. This is why. Because a lot of these things a lot of these mistakes they make are easily fixable mistakes. But they continue to drop the ball every time over. Every time. So, you know what? But that's my last postmortem election talk on this podcast. I'm glad it's over. Although we're going to have another 4 years Donald Trump, which means a lot of content. I'll tell you what, Donald Trump, I didn't vote for the guy, but for this show and for me as a content creator, he's good for me. And yeah, I didn't vote for him. That tells you where my priority is at still. That despite some of you idiots out there that think that I voted for Donald Trump or I'm MAGA because I'm having conversations with friends of mine who are people are conservatives. I voted for Kamala Harris. I didn't go third party. I didn't go Joel Stein and Cornel West. I didn't stay home. I didn't vote for Trump. I voted for Kamala. But you're still worried about who I voted for. Fuck out of here, dude. That's so today. Anyway, X, Twitter, EJ Christian 7. YouTube page, Earnest at Earnest Christian on YouTube. We'll be back Thursday. All right. Stay safe. Stay smart. Love you guys. And we'll talk later.
Thank you.